Hello and welcome to Dedicated to Wrestling. This is Slow News Saturday, episode 5, I believe. And just a really quick rundown, because I'm sure the people who've watched this by now know what it's about. A quick rundown, if you don't know what Slow News Saturday is, basically we take some stories throughout the week that doesn't really deserve to be in their own video, or even some news stories that have come out today perhaps, and then we round them up all into one video so you're missing none of the most important news in the world of wrestling, because famously Saturday and Sunday is an extremely slow day for wrestling news. Not a lot of stories break on that news. It's kind of bottom of the barrel stuff. With that being said, let's get straight into this episode 5 of Slow News Saturday. We're going to start off with perhaps, well, not the biggest news, but more of the kind of fun news here, is that apparently, according to a poll released by Pro Wrestling Illustrated, Roman Reigns has been voted the most hated wrestler in America. And Forbes, another journalism site, also points out that this is the first time that a face wrestler has won this dubious honour. And they seem to think that despite outward appearances, winning this award for Roman Reigns is actually a good thing. A quote from the article is this: Pro Wrestling Illustrated's list of most hated wrestlers is filled with current and future WWE Hall of Famers. It's not a most hated list as much as it is a most fun to hate list. The award is just as much of a tip of the cap as it is a diss. In fact, from 1972 to 2002, 24 different wrestlers were named PWI's most hated. Only 7 of those that were voted are not currently in the WWE Hall of Fame. So that gives you an indication that I haven't gone back on the records of this poll to see what wrestlers did get voted. The fact that a lot of them are in the Hall of Fame kind of speaks for itself. But the thing is, I don't necessarily think this is a great award for Roman Reigns to win. I mean, to be voted the most hated wrestler, in America when you're playing a face character is not great. Like, let's be honest. The article even says that no face has won this before. So the fact that Roman Reigns is breaking that trend, I don't necessarily think is a good thing. I think it would be an excellent thing if he was playing a heel, which he should have been playing 2 years ago already. But as a face, I don't really think this is a good thing for him to win. But then again, it's only a wrestling website poll. How much Vince McMahon takes all this crap into account, I'm not sure. And even if he has seen it, I'm sure this won't affect any plans for Roman Reigns. He's dead set in his ways of making Roman the top face in the company. So take of this what you will. The next piece of news we're going to get on to, they kind of intertwine into each other, is to do with Shane McMahon. Apparently, if you was wondering whether Shane McMahon will be competing at WrestleMania, because many months ago he was slated for a match, it was already locked in apparently, with Brock Lesnar, but of course Goldberg coming back completely changed that. Apparently Shane McMahon is still scheduled to compete at WrestleMania. That is 100%, he will be wrestling at the show. And a news story that is literally, or rumour I should say, that's literally been founded in the last 24 hours is the opponent he will be going up against. Now, I will say take this with a huge grain of salt, because I've only seen this on like 1, maybe 2 sites, and they don't list any sources for this information. Apparently, according to them, Shane McMahon will be going one-on-one with none other than the phenomenal one, AJ Styles. How this feud will come about is AJ Styles will not be happy when he loses the WWE Championship to John Cena at the Royal Rumble, and will then turn to blaming Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon for setting the match up in the first place, because AJ Styles thinks he has nothing to prove after already beating John Cena long ago at SummerSlam and even before that. Obviously, he couldn't wrestle Daniel Bryan because he's not cleared to compete, so that honour would fall to Shane McMahon. Now, as I said, take this with a huge grain of salt. I don't know how much of this we can believe or not. They list no sources for this rumour, so it could just be a good old clickbait on a Saturday afternoon to get those views rolling in. Who knows? But I'm not really intrigued by the possibility of AJ Styles against Shane. I love to see Shane wrestle. Like, I still love seeing him, even though he's not like a ridiculously good wrestler or anything like that. He's entertainment, and that's what I want at WrestleMania. I think AJ Styles, like, with all due respect to Shane McMahon, he deserves a more high profile match at WrestleMania. He deserves to be at the top of the card in one of the most important feuds in the company at that time. I don't think him and Shane McMahon would really set the fire alight in terms of what AJ Styles really deserves. But as I said, grain of salt, we don't know what will come of this. Next up on the agenda is concern with Dean Ambrose being the Intercontinental Champion again. As we saw on last week's SmackDown, Dean Ambrose defeated The Miz, or was it could have actually been the SmackDown before now, I'm losing track, but Dean Ambrose defeated The Miz to become the new Intercontinental Champion. There hasn't been a rematch scheduled yet. Dean Ambrose has entered himself into the Royal Rumble, so that leaves question marks whether he'll be able to defend his championship against The Miz at the Royal Rumble. I'm sure The Miz would invoke his rematch clause sooner or later, but it is the belief that Dean Ambrose will retain, no problem there. The reason why they wanted to put their title on Dean Ambrose was simply because they feel he's too big a star on SmackDown to be lingering in the mid-card without a title. And like I've got to say, it's like as much as I love Dean Ambrose, it's pretty harsh on the Miz. Like he's elevated that title so hugely over the last 6 months to a year, and I think it is a bit hard just to push him aside when WrestleMania comes along to put it on Dean Ambrose. But Vince McMahon and the powers that be, they want Dean Ambrose to have a championship. Two sides of the sword here as well with this. Part of the WWE and Vince McMahon thinks putting the Intercontinental Championship on Dean Ambrose will be seen as a demotion of sorts, because over the last 6 months he's been in the WWE title picture, especially with AJ Styles, so they're feeling that the fans might not get behind him as much and they might not like it as he's been demoted back down to the Intercontinental Championship, but they feel like the title has enough prestige now that he can carry that in towards the WrestleMania season without his reputation as a star on SmackDown going too much. And the good news about this, especially as a huge Dean Ambrose fan like myself, is that they regard Dean Ambrose extremely, extremely highly, and that's why they're so worried about the direction he's going in. So that's positive. That's really good news. There's been so many rumours in the past that they didn't see Dean Ambrose as a top guy, but now that I'm hearing that they're seeing him as one of the most important pieces on SmackDown, that's really great to hear for me personally. I love that. On to the last piece of information we have to you today. It is regarding New Japan Pro Wrestling's Kenny Omega. Obviously, ever since Wrestle Kingdom, there's been huge, huge rumours. Will he be going to WWE? Will he be signing a new deal with New Japan Wrestling? Apparently his deal with them expires on January the 28th. And of course, if you keep up with any wrestling news whatsoever, John Cena has been throwing hints left, right and centre in regards to Kenny Omega. He has been teasing on Instagram. I think he's up to 3 posts now on Instagram. Just it started with his picture, then started with things about Kenny Omega that he likes and what he's known for. According to Dave Meltzer, there's absolutely zero chance that Kenny Omega will be competing in the Royal Rumble or even showing up in the Royal Rumble. Zero chance. As for WrestleMania, he simply says, who knows? Nobody seems to know now what exactly Kenny Omega's deal is with New Japan Wrestling. The only thing that people seem to know is why Kenny Omega hasn't signed a new deal yet. Apparently he wants assurances from New Japan Pro Wrestling that he is going to be the top guy. Apparently, and this is really surprising to me, even though I don't watch New Japan Pro Wrestling, so I can't really have as much of an opinion as I'd like. New Japan Pro Wrestling don't view him as a top guy in regards to putting the title on him. They don't want to put the title on him even for a short amount of time. But for Kenny, that is the be end and end all of his time in New Japan. He wants that title. He wants to be seen as the main guy. He knows how much leverage he has right now with the WWE sniffing around. And if the WWE comes in with an offer, I think New Japan will be forced, and they will be forced to give Kenny what he wants and give him a spot and give him the title, finally give him the title that he wants. And like they'd have to at least match WWE's offer, I think, or even a little bit less. If they gave Kenny a little bit less money, but guaranteed him that he'd be getting the title, I think he would accept that. But as of right now, Kenny Omega is still very much up in the air. But however much teasing John Cena wants to do, categorically he won't be in the Royal Rumble. 100% not. That is going to be it for today, guys. Thank you for watching. I will be back on Monday, unless by the grace of God some big news story breaks tomorrow on Sunday, but usually Sunday is completely dead. Thanks for watching this video, guys. I really appreciate it. Subscribe to me. As always, this has been dedicated to wrestling. Until next time.